Okay everyone, welcome back to the series. This is episode 13. I can't remember if it's 12 or 13. I think it's 13. But yeah, not a lot of time left. So within the game today, I think I'm going to be trying to defeat the Ender Dragon, so I can focus on some other things like exploring, you know. Or should I keep the Ender Dragon until later? I don't even know. I mean, I have everything I need. I do want to explore more as well. But I do need the levels to enchant. Don't even have enough bookshelves yet. You know, I think my main goal right now is I'm not gonna kill the Ender Dragon. I'm gonna collect some leather and stuff. Anyways, what I want to talk about today is my, what is it? Oh yeah, ranking the 6 IB subjects that I took. So I think I talked about my school life to some extent in previous videos, but I have not really talked about, you know, the specific subjects I've done. I've mainly just talked about how I like doing maths or I like doing bands or whatever, but I never really talked about what subjects I did in much detail. So I guess today's video I will be aiming to do that. Okay. But before that, that's okay. I'm gonna do some daily chores like farming these things. Somehow I didn't break that. Playing this world every single day is definitely an interesting challenge. I don't think I'll be able to make it. I don't think I want to get the elytra and all that stuff within this series. Just thinking about it. I've thought about it for a while and I was like debating should I do it or not, because on one hand I can explore faster, but on the other hand it'll take forever to get it because my end city luck is just horrible. I could spend the whole episode and not find one, right? And I don't even have that many episodes left. So I want them to be valuable to some extent. So I think I'll save the dragon for the last episode ever. Anyway, but I'll keep the world just in case I decide to return to it next year or something. Now let me get back to the topic at hand. So in the IB DP, I'm going to be talking about my DP experience, by the way, not the NYP. In the DP, you have to choose 6 main subjects for the IB. So these 6 subjects are ordered by group. And they're all different, so there's like one subject in each group, and for each group there's like a list of possible subjects that you can choose from, and you can only choose one of them per group. So let me briefly explain what each group is. The first one is regarding your studies in language and literature, and for most people that take the IB, this is in English, including me. So I took English, language, and literature, and I took this at standard level because English was never a subject that I was good at. I had no confidence in my ability to take it at the HL level. I did not want to spend like 3 extra hours writing other things. Now, I know there, but from a whole list of things that I can choose from, how are you guys not dropping any leather? You can choose from any of the IB approved languages that they have exams for, and they try to make exams for like every language possible because they are an international organization. So I don't speak like Latvian or Macedonian, but they have those languages for the candidates that speak them. I don't speak them, but yeah, they exist. And of course there's like exponentially fewer candidates who take those less commonly taken exams. And English is always the number 1, so the most competitive. can't be helped though, right? Most exams are written in English. Most people who take the IB are familiar with English. Now, so yeah, that's group one. There's also an option if you want to choose literature or just literature or language and literature. And the difference is that for language and literature, which is what I took, you have a greater focus on analyzing like different unseen material. Like you can analyze more visually appealing things like magazine covers or travel brochures or stuff like that. But in literature, you study just literature, like just black and white text. That has its uses, of course, but for me, I was someone who always enjoyed taking, you know, the actual English class. And besides, I don't think my school offers just literature. So yeah, I didn't really have a choice. No one saw that. Now, as there's also a second group subject, right? So group one has like a whole list of different subjects you can choose from. And group two is pretty interesting. It's a bit different. So usually group two is for studies in a foreign language. So for example, I took Chinese, specifically Mandarin, at the SL level, because HL Chinese is really different. Even if you're at the language acquisition level, you're gonna have to analyze text in some way, and that's really difficult. So I decided to stick to the SL level, where you're gonna be analyzing images for your IO. That's the most difficult that it gets. So yeah, I took Chinese. And after I briefly introduce each subject in each group that I took, I will go over each subject in more detail, right? So I'm not done talking about English, don't forget that. Yeah, so Chinese, it's I took it at the language acquisition like kind of level, so no matter how hard it gets, the IB will recognize that I'm still learning the language, so I'm gonna suck at it, so they give more easier exams. Like if I were to take Chinese at the level that language A students take it in, which is like the analysis and, you know, literature kind of level, then I would definitely like, you know, die. I would get like a 1. But I know there's some people at my school that did that because, you know, they know Chinese, or they're like really fluent in it. It's like the English exams, but they're in Chinese. Now, closely connected to that idea is that you can take, instead of just taking a regular group 2 subject of studying a foreign language, you can actually choose to take 2 kind of group 1 subjects. So you can do 2 different subjects at the language A level. I don't know why you would do that, but actually there is one reason. If you successfully do this, you're able to obtain the bilingual diploma, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, you get to obtain the bilingual diploma, and it's kind of like an additional flex on top of your original diploma. But if you're not completely bilingual, like I'm not completely bilingual. I can like speak Korean, but I'm not good at it to a point where I can analyze text. So if I took Korean, I would have, you know, gotten destroyed. I think it was a good fit. It would have been a good fit for me if I took Korean BHL. Like I could definitely analyze like the easier bits of text, but I guess you know, still too difficult. And there's an ocean. I kind of want to go exploring a bit today, so I will do that. Let me go back to my house and pick up some materials, drop some off. Anyway. Yeah, so I could have taken those subjects, but I don't think they're offered in my school. Just keeping that in mind. Now, additionally, there's also a group 3 subject. So this is a bit different, but group 3 subject is like, it's like a individuals and societies oriented course. If you take MYP, it's called individuals and societies. If you're in the US curriculum, it's probably something like social studies or humanities, something along that. And in contrast to what we learn in the MYP, which is like an integrated humanities course, where we learn all sorts of stuff from history to psychology to a little bit of economics. In DP, you can like more accurately like choose your paths. in relation to what you want to study. So I took business management, which is not a course that, you know, actually in the NYP. We never learned anything about business management in the NYP. We learned economics, sure, but that's different, right? So yeah, and there's also the thing about business management is that it requires no prior knowledge. So even if you basically didn't take any INS course in the NYP, you can just start it with no prior knowledge whatsoever. You'll be fine. Well, as long as you can keep up with the material, that is. But I found the class to be pretty fun. It's also like the class that gets, I think, around the most amount of people interested in it, because, you know, the idea of having a business draws people closer for some reason. I don't know. But it's definitely a thing. Now, for group 4, it's the sciences. So you can pick one science course out of like so many different ones, but the ones offered at my school were, you know, the main ones: physics, chemistry, and biology. We didn't have geography. We didn't have like natural, environmental systems, or whatever the course is called that no one cares about. Yeah. And I took chemistry for group 4. Depending on the school, your compatibility of these different aspects may change. Like for example, some schools don't allow you to take 2 language A subjects. Mine does. But yeah, moving on, group 5 is going to be mathematics. So I think I mentioned this, I took the analysis and approaches course. The most hardest perceived difficulty, of course, of a math course you can get in the IB. But I think it was pretty manageable, using the proper study strategies, of course. I actually, I'm in the progress of making a video on how to get a 7 in AAHL, like right now. Hopefully that video finds the right people. But it will probably be released sometime along the next week, because school is starting soon. But I wanted to release it a bit earlier, but this video is taking way longer than I thought to upload, because, you know, I'm putting a lot of work into it. How are boats full of friendly creatures? Aren't they like blocks or something, or ambient environment? Don't quote me on that. That's kind of stupid. So, yeah, that's mathematics. For group 6, it's usually supposed to be the arts, or other subjects like music, visual arts, theater, drama, film, that kind of stuff. But another option for those who are less like oriented in that direction is you can take a second science course. So this is a bit of an interesting one. When I first took the DP, I wanted to take DP music. You might have heard that I participated in the band, and I did the orchestra for like 5 years. And of course I played piano for like over a decade, right? So I really had experience in music, and I wanted to do it further, right? But the sad thing is that our school didn't have enough people in my grade to do that. So even though we had a music teacher that could teach DP music, we didn't have the right, you know, enough interested people. So we ended up with just like you need at least 3 people to start a class for music, but we couldn't even get 3, I think. Or was it 5? I don't remember, but very low amount of people that we couldn't even get. Actually, those feathers are useful. Oh my god. I don't even care about everything else in here. Should I eat? Anyway. Yeah, so unfortunately I was not able to take the music subject that I wanted to take. Oh my god. Show your team. There's 2 of you. Ow. How are you not dead? Okay, I'm gonna need to like hide for this. Like, I swear I hit that thing like 3 times. It should be dead by now. Please give me a second. Okay, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna get anywhere with this. I'm gonna have to kill the other ones. Anyway. Not you two. There's no way you're still not dead. Bro, what is this? Wait, no way. Yo. You know, I deserve that. Like, this is... What is this? What even is this? Honestly, I'm not lying anymore. I just like got to try it. That's like a 2% chance or something, probably. I forgot. Anyway, finally I can keep living, so... Yeah, I couldn't choose the path of choosing the music that I wanted to. But maybe that's a good thing, because the alternative that you can choose is you can choose to take 2 science subjects. I know, pretty interesting, right? Instead of art subject, you can choose 2 science subjects. So I actually ended up taking that option. I chose to take physics. Now I think this is a good idea for me because I wanted to, you know, learn more about the universe in comparison to learning more about life. Like there are 2 options. I could have taken chemistry and biology, or chemistry and physics. So I decided to take chemistry and physics. Also, our school did have an option for computer science, and some of my friends did go to that class, but I decided that I wanted to take physics because I was just more interested in that aspect. Of course, I have no idea where my career path is going to be, but for right now, I want to work in some kind of business. So it's probably not going to be like the most relevant idea to take physics. But you know, same goes with like chemistry. I'm not going to use chemistry in my real life, I think, as of right now. So who can say otherwise, right? Man, I need a new shield. It's annoying. So yeah, that's me taking 2 science subjects. Now I guess there were also like the core subjects, right? There's TOK, extended essay, and CAS, but they're not really classes with like a specific teacher assigned to them or whatever, for me at least. So I'm not really gonna talk about them. They're mostly for independent work to show that you can do these extra things. That's the whole point of them are. That's useful. Honestly, this is kind of useless. I'll go a little bit further and see what I can find. If I don't find anything, I'll just go back. Anyway, what else? Yeah, I'll just start talking about the actual subjects themselves now. So, man, this is gonna be fun. So in English, I already said this, but it was like one of my most difficult classes, even from my MYP. Like, I had no confidence in English whatsoever, and the results did not follow. Like, I think in grade 9 one time I got like a 2 for English, but I think I averaged around the 4 out of 8 on the MYP grade scale. So yeah, make of that what you will. Now, indeed, I think English is severely influenced by, your performance is severely influenced by who's teaching you and how you're being taught. So I can prove this because I've had 2 separate DP English teachers. The first, to be completely honest, I like the second one better than the first one. So the first teacher was, he was a really good teacher. Like, he was the teacher that taught me in grade 8, and then didn't see him again until grade 11. So I was originally very excited to have him back being my teacher again, right? So yeah, I learned a lot of Pro. I can use that to get home. I learned most things from him at the beginning of the year. Now this was, remember when I first started DP, I was like completely unaware of everything and all the processes that went on. So I was like originally starting out with zero IB knowledge, didn't even know what papers in English were assessed, didn't even know what the papers, like what the concept of a paper was. So I was just relying on him to get me through everything. And in my opinion, he didn't give like the, like, you know, ultimately he didn't give the best advice. So for example, what is the Savannah? I kinda wanna go to that. There's Moon Pearl. I think that's Rain Pearl. Yeah. I'll check both of those out. Should have brought my bed. What am I doing? Wow, that sucks. Is a village. Yeah, I swear I thought I saw a village. Thank God I'm not hallucinating. So let me just show you what I did in English for first year. So one of the first things we did, like in, I think it was like September of 2022, in like the first months, is we did some paper one practice. So this is good, right? We began to analyze, like paper one, the whole focus of it is to analyze an unseen text, like a non-literary text, which is like an advertisement or poem or whatsoever. And we're supposed to analyze it within the given time, like 75 minutes, and write a response on it. And I believe I did pretty well on this. I got a 6 from the first assessment. But when you compare that with what I did in the second year, it was like so much more different. When I look back at my essay that I got a 6 on, it should have gotten like a 4 or a 5, because the way my teacher graded it was, I think it was more oriented toward the way he enjoyed seeing it, because when I look at the criteria, I did not meet many of those requirements. Like the blacksmiths here. Yeah. Oops. One example, like as to why I didn't it was like so different, and one of the reasons was that I included, like, you know how your essay of paper one should always have a thesis statement, right? And I included my main points inside the thesis statement and stuff. Like I said, this advertisement appeals to a certain number of people because, like, something about people because, you know, it has use of color, different composition, and, you know, literary devices. I stated those main points I'm going to talk about in my body paragraphs in my thesis statement. But the thing is, my new teacher told me to never do that when I got the new teacher in grade 12. So it was like what do they want me to do? Like, it's so confusing when you're told to do one thing all your life and then suddenly you're told to do another. I've actually never seen these. This is pretty cool. I don't even know how you're supposed to breathe these. Hiding, I guess. I'll just leave it alone. I don't want to kill it. Is this Savannah really it? Anyway, yeah, that's just one of the things that was really different for English. I could go on and on. For example, when we did IOs, actually the IOs were pretty good. Like, they were like the thing that was the most consistent. However, and also we didn't learn any paper 2 stuff with this old teacher, because he thought we should learn paper 2 after we learned some different texts. Fair enough, but I wish you had at least some practice to get familiar with the thing. I didn't want to, you know, get exposed to paper 2 a month before my mock exams in DP2. Kind of ashamed, but, you know, whatever. Another thing is that when we had to keep like a designated portfolio to keep our progress updated on. So this portfolio was kind of something that I think our teacher kind of like stated that it was given by the IB. So I don't know if this is true. I think I remember seeing something like that on the syllabus that I checked when I checked it, but I didn't see anywhere that we had to like keep updating our learner portfolios with something called a creative entry. So let me explain. So you can do when you do IB English, the guide suggests that you keep a learner's portfolio to keep track of your progress. But one thing our teachers told us to do, especially the old teacher that I had in grade 11, he told us to create like a creative entry every single time we finished the unit, and we had 3 units. Now, while we were still under his, his right to rule, we had just finished unit 1. After we finished unit 2 was the point when grade 12 already started. So I made 1 creative entry. This was like last March when I was in Canada to visit my university. I did a creative entry about regarding Human Acts, the book Human Acts by Han Kang. Very great book. I actually ended up using Human Acts and Persepolis in my paper 2. Yeah, that was definitely very interesting. Savannah biome is tiny. I'm gonna go back now. Now, that's great, but since when I went to grade 12, we didn't have, and I got like these creative entries were assessed, so they're like another chance to bring up my final grade for grade 11. So I'm very happy because I didn't get a 7 for English overall, but I got a 7 for the creative portfolio project. Like I got a full maximum score. I was happy about this, of course, because I worked hard on it. Like, I spent like half of my break in Canada thinking about how to do my creative entry. But it was like so disappointing when I finally went to grade 12 and noticed that was all not necessary because the old teacher said that we didn't have to actually she never even addressed them at all because it was a system that my teacher I guess made up and then never did again. So I guess yeah, he never told her about it, so no one saw that. Yeah, we just made 1 creative entry for 1 unit, and for the other 2 units that we did, we just only read texts and we never really did anything, like any serious work. And that's kind of funny for me. This is kind of dangerous. I feel like I've been here before though, have I? Actually, no, I have not. I'm just using the letter as a shortcut to go back home. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much what I want to talk about English. So, what are you gonna do, huh? So, I'm sorry, piglets, I'm not working. I'm so sorry. This is not where I'm supposed to. It's not even there. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for English. Now let me talk about Chinese. Man, I have a lot to talk about Chinese. So, apart from English being a pretty bad subject for me, although I forgot to state this point before I moved on to Chinese. Like, I really did like my second English teacher a lot better. I liked both of them because they all tried their best and all that, but I still like my second English teacher much better than the first one. I think it's just a matter of preference and how well they taught in their specific subjects. And overall, I didn't get a 7 in English overall, but in the final exams I got a 6. And I did pretty good in my IO. Like, I did way better than I thought I did, so I'm pretty happy. Did not get a 7 for any English components though. I guess that's just, me naturally not being able to be very good at English. It's okay though, it doesn't matter. Now I can talk about Chinese, right? So, unlike English, my Chinese teacher never changed. But he was my Chinese teacher, in fact, since the entirety of not the entirety, but like the entirety of grade 10, 11, and 12. So he taught me for about 10 years. And that's amazing because it means that just shows how much he knows us, right? So she kind of like carried us all the way through the NYP Chinese e-assessment, the Chinese and then all the way through the DP, through all of our paper 1, paper 2s, and IOs. That was pretty fun. Why did I even bring this? Yeah, oh yeah, I got a trident, I'll keep that in here. Casually just have a trident. So regarding Chinese, my skill level with Chinese and NYP, it wasn't the best. It was kind of like, you know, it was acceptable because I lived in China for about 10 years, but in comparison to my experience in China, my Chinese was really bad because I never bothered to study it properly. I knew the characters and stuff, but I didn't know many, and of course nowhere near a native level. I think, you know, even right now, I could learn Chinese to a native level if I wanted to, if I like kept putting the effort in every single day. But you know, I'm learning Japanese right now, and one of the things my Chinese teacher actually said to me was that it's really difficult to learn 2 languages at once. So I would prefer to studying, you know, studying Japanese for now because that's where my interests are at the moment. Because I really do have a motivation to be interested in Japanese. Chinese was just purely academic at first. I did gain an interest because I did enjoy the concept of learning Chinese, but in the end, I think I was more oriented toward learning Japanese. So yeah, if I think about it a bit, why are these things even? Why is beetroot even in the game? So, regarding Chinese, yeah, my skill level initially wasn't that great, but overall my Chinese teacher really saw the potential in me, I think, because in grade 10 I was kind of a lousy student. I was like, you know, not really, I was like horrible in Chinese, but I was really motivated to learn further. I didn't want to keep trying my best. I'm glad that my Chinese teacher saw the potential in me, otherwise he would have like given up, right? For example, in grade 11, I think I really wasn't putting the effort in as much as I should have been, so I got like, of course I got a decent grade for other subjects, but in the IO, I got a 4 because I was really bad at speaking. And my confidence was really low, my anxiety was extremely high. I kept stuttering, I kept not being, I couldn't even say simple sentences in that time condition, so I got like a 4 for my IO. And I really wanted to get that 7 in the end. Spoiler alert is that I did get a 7 in Chinese, but I did not get a 7 in the IO. I got a high 6 for my IO, like 25 or something out of 30. It's unbelievable that the grade boundary is like 27 for the IO. It's just because like, I think it's partially because native people are taking the test for some reason. That's just funny to me. Anyway, yeah. My Chinese skill overall grew so much more when I finally started to, you know, decide to fix myself, take control of my life in the 2nd semester of DP1. Even in my IO, I began to see immediate changes. I got like 5s and then 6s. Now, the funny thing is, we did only 3 IOs in our entire DP2, like 2 years DP, because, you know, our class overall just hated IOs, and our teacher can only force us to do so much, right? So, we did like 3 IOs in total, and I got, I think, 4, 6, 6 as my grade progression, so never got a 7, but pretty good progression overall. In terms of my writing ability for Chinese, I think it did become much better overall. I practiced so much writing, especially as the exams approached. I was like consistently writing more than the word limit. Like 480 words is the word limit for language B. I mean the suggested word limit, which means that basically you should stay to that. And I kept writing like 80 words over that, so I guess it was a good sign that I was able to write consistently a lot. But yeah, that's my journey in Chinese. I liked the subject. The teacher was really supportive, and in the end, when I finally got that 7, I bragged about it. Okay, not bragged, but announced it to her, and like, she was very happy for me, so very glad seeing that progression. Now, in regard to business management, I think it's pretty similar, because remember how I had no experience with business management at all, and my INS grades were not the best originally. So, I guess it kind of shows that my ability to get better in some subjects really depends on the amount of work that I put in as well, not just the teachers. Because my business management teacher, a very interesting personality in my opinion. Like, he was nice and he knew his stuff, but he could be really mean if you wanted to. Like, the thing is, if you piss him off, he's not gonna like help you at all. But overall, like, I think I learned that the hard way. Like, and I learned how to be a better student due to him. Like, as one of my, like, he was one of the reasons that I became a better student, I think, in terms of my behavior, because I used to be pretty ignorant and stuff. I think I talked about this in the mental journey through the IPDP kind of thing. But yeah, thanks to him, I learned like how to not be annoying in class and actually pay attention. And once I started to do that, I started to ask a lot more questions, and he began to like, you know, be more positive toward my attitude, which is great to see. And I got like very good like scores. Like I got top of the class like 3 times for a summative assessment, where for the mock exams I got highest in my class, and for the April assessment week for my school's grade 11 test, kind of end of year grade 11 test, I got the highest score. And I don't know about how well I did in the final test. Probably not the highest ever, because I didn't get like even 80%. I got like 73% overall, because my IA was trash. But I must have done pretty well in the papers for that to balance all out, you know? So yeah, getting a 5 in the IA, but getting a 7 overall, pretty cool achievement in my opinion. And yeah, he was also very happy for me when I announced that I got a 7 in his class for final exams. For chemistry, I think it's a subject that I never got a 6 on. And I don't know why. I think that half the reason is that I switched teachers halfway through the middle, and both of those teachers were kind of easy graders. So the 7s don't really reflect my overall ability in chemistry, in my opinion. Like, I'm just being completely honest. My first DP, like DP1 teacher, like, had the materials prepared from an amazing DP teacher that left the year prior. So he had all of her materials and was just reusing them. But I think the tests that she gave out were easier, much more easier than the IB difficulty. So that's why I could easily get 7s on that, even if I didn't have full understanding of the material. And as for my DP2 teacher, he was, I think, much better in teaching. I mean, actually, I don't know. Both of them, in my opinion, were like on the so-so to good scale, like kind of that area. And I say this because my first teacher, he didn't have any enthusiasm, right? He knew his stuff, but it's mostly memorized, and it was like kind of like ways to score easy marks on exams rather than actually focusing on getting the words right. Like he would make us memorize the exact answer for a specific problem because it shows up a lot. And now, believe me, there are spots where that's helpful, but for me, I really preferred when I knew the conceptual knowledge. But when I asked him, he said he had to like look it up on Google and stuff, so I wouldn't call that incredibly qualified, but no, I can't say anything, right? I'm a student, so I just dealt with it. And in DP2, that teacher left and a new teacher came, and this teacher was really enthusiastic in terms of teaching. Like, he was really, really nice. So, like, I couldn't like dislike her in any way. Like, he wasn't the best in teaching though, so he could have definitely done better. But once again, I had to because I was a student, I couldn't really do anything about that, so I had to take matters into my own hands and self-study material ahead of time so that I could ask minimal questions in class. Like, if I had any difficult questions, I wouldn't ask her, I would just ask the internet. And that worked out for me. I got 7s and all for her tests as well. I think overall she was an easy grader, even for the IA. I think I got like a higher score than what most people, like, what the IB gave me. Like I got moderated down for the IA. Yeah, that was pretty funny. But overall, I think I did pretty well on it. And I don't think I told her that I got a 7 in the IB exams. I mean, the school probably has it on their on the record, so I think I forgot to tell, yeah. But it's okay. But the main thing is I tried really hard for class. I didn't show any expression of like, you know, not being satisfied with how much teaching she did, because I could tell she was trying her best. Like she was like trying her best to make the class engaging and make us understand things through simple concepts, probably utilizing the Feynman technique. And I think it worked on me, mostly because I self-studied the material ahead of time, right? Some people ask me questions a lot in chemistry because they had no idea what was going on in the class. But for me, I was pretty confident that I understood all the material. So yeah, chemistry pretty fun class overall, especially when we had those occasional labs. I had a lot of fun, like just like kind of messing around in them. I did not mean to make this much. I meant to make only 12, but whatever. I'll keep these in store for the next episode, so next episode I'll find a stronghold. Now since I am running out of time here, I'll talk about math and physics. So math, even though it may seem like I have a lot to talk about in regard to math, I actually don't really have that much. Well, first of all, I wanted to... Actually, I'm going to decorate my house a little bit while I talk about this. It's a difficult subject for me because originally I sucked so much at math. I was really bad at it. But when I finally noted, and that's like partially because the teacher kept giving the most difficult tests ever. Like, I couldn't keep up with it, you know. But you know, that is my fault, so I struggled a lot. But I eventually, in the second semester, I ended up being able to solve those really difficult questions and get ahead of the whole class, to the point where I was getting the highest grades in the class and all that. And I'm not going to elaborate too much on this topic because first of all, I'm running out of time, but second of all, I already discussed everything I'm talking about here in the episode about my academic journey throughout the IB and how I succeeded in math. I talked about all of that. And most of these tips I'm gonna reiterate in my math channel because I think it's pretty cool. I want to share how it's definitely possible to become better at math even if you don't think so. I'll link that channel in the description, so when the video comes out within a week, you'll be able to check it out and see it for yourself in more detail, all the strategies that I used. But for this Minecraft Let's Play, not really like not really fitting, right? So not gonna include it here. But overall, I did get a 91% like completely overall in the IB. I got 3 marks off for paper 3, I think, and I consider that very nice for me. And paper 2, not paper 3. I got a 97 or so % in the paper 2 because I got like 3 marks off. I think I have the right to celebrate that based on anything. So yeah, lastly, and I told my teacher about it, and he was like really impressed with my progress, and he said that he wished me well for university. So I was very touched when I heard that. Now lastly, I want to talk about physics, and this is the last subject of the day and the video as well. So in my opinion, physics, once again, this is another subject that I had a different teacher for in second year, because a lot of my teachers actually ended up leaving after the first year for some reason. Maybe they were just tired of our school. Our school does have a pretty high labor turnover. It's kind of funny to me. Yeah. But the first teacher, in my opinion, like, he was very unique. As a person, I think the best way to describe him is that he would have done like a much better job teaching in a university environment, because he was really smart. Like, he knew all his physics stuff. He could explain any concept really well, which means he really understood it. Well, especially in comparison to my second teacher. And he was also really funny. Like, he had our kind of humor. Like, sometimes he would make inappropriate jokes, or like purposely censor cussing and stuff, like humorously. It was pretty funny. Like, he was a great teacher. I actually liked him in comparison to the many of my classmates and former MIP people that did not like him. I actually liked him. Obviously, I can't disclose his details here because that'll just expose everything, but he was a good teacher in my opinion. So, and the thing is, he was also pretty strict. Like, even if he was funny at times, I think he expected a bit much of us in some cases. Maybe it was for the best. Like, he wanted us to succeed in the IBDP, so he purposely gave us a hard time so that the test would become easier. But oh man, his tests were really difficult. And I think I got a 7. Like, my grades kept fluctuating between 7s and 5s and 6s. Like, I got a 7 for the first class, and then it dropped down to a 5 because the unit on momentum was really difficult for me. And then went up to 7 because simple harmonic motion was a breeze. And then went back down to like 5 and then 6 and then so on, depending on every single topic. So I would like have an idea of like what was the most difficult kind of, you know, test for me. Very interesting in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, he was really smart in terms of actually explaining the material, so I don't have any complaints in that regard. Now, in contrast, I was really sad when I found out that he had to leave the following year. Was it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15? Okay, that should be enough. Nice. But you know, it was also kind of relieving to have a new change, because I wanted a teacher that could be, you know, more relatable to high school students, right? But in the end, I was kind of when we got a second teacher, I think I had my hopes a bit too high, because this teacher wasn't like terrible or anything, but I think like this new teacher, she was not really good at explaining the concepts. Like, when she explained things, I couldn't really understand what they meant and all that. So yeah, and I think she used ChatGPT for some of her comments on my learning platform. It was like pretty obvious. So, and I could tell she didn't really enjoy putting, like, she kept saying that she wanted to go home. It was like, oh my god, it's Monday again, I want to go home. I guess it was her trying to be relatable, but to me it just came off as like not being able to, you know, control her, you know, like what her personal wants were versus what we're supposed to be doing in class. Okay, this is a joke, right? Like, come on. But anyway. Okay, not bad. But her tests were literally, like, they weren't as difficult, because while the first teachers took like they were both past paper questions, right? But the first teacher decided to take like the hardest question from every single past paper he could find, while the second teacher just used the IB question bank service to find, you know, just pull random questions of medium difficulty to us and give them to us for our tests. Both of them were pretty IB oriented, so I can't say much, but I did get pretty high grades. I got consistently high grades during my 12th grade year, because that's when I finally started to turn my life around, right? So in both cases, I got pretty high grades for physics, and I got that 7 overall, so pretty happy about that. Once again, I think I forgot to tell her that I got a 7, but I don't really mind, because unlike the chemistry teacher, I don't think we had that strong of a bond. Like, we weren't, I was not really, I guess, like, and she wasn't as great as a teacher as the chemistry teacher was, in my opinion, so yeah. Didn't really feel the need. But overall, that's gonna be it for this episode, because I think it's like the longest one I've made so far, like reaching over 50 minutes at this point. So tomorrow I'll talk about some other things. I'm not sure what it is gonna be just yet, but I'll come up with a topic, I swear. Maybe something related to piano or another one of my hobbies. That's it for today. I hope you have a good day or night, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.